Pete, where are you?
Hey, Dan, how you doing?
Good.
I'm in Cooperstown, of course, and last night I had an appearance at Rochester for their AAA team, which is a AAA team of Minnesota, and I flew back in here last night and be here for the weekend, signing autographs today with Steve Garvey, and tomorrow with Tony Perez and Andre Dawson and Ken Griffey Sr., and Saturday the same, and Sunday go back to Vegas. And we're excited about Fandy action. I know we're having a Pick 10 contest this weekend starting tonight at 7. And the way it works, Dan, is you can pick 8 players and 2 pitchers, and the winners, the 25 winners, will go on Monday for the championship, and the champion gets to come to Vegas, airfare included for a 2-night stand and dinner with Pete Rose out there. So it's a lot of fun. You can play for free or you can play for money in the states that allow money games. But we're very excited about the opportunity to create guys to follow the game more. And that's what happens when you have fantasy sports, as you know.
Now, do you have to run this by baseball at all? Do you care what their opinion is?
Well, not really, because they're 10% owners of DraftKings.
Yeah.
And the commissioner a number of times has said fantasy sports is not gambling. So, I'm playing right up their alley. And there again, Dan, I'm in a situation now where I did have to have permission last night to go on the field, just like I had to have permission when I got my Hall of Fame induction last week in Cincinnati, and I had permission the next day when they retired my number. But this is kind of interesting if you want to know the truth. Last night, one of the big things I enjoy when I go do a minor league appearance is going in the clubhouse and talking with the players and explaining to them how hard it is to make the big leagues and what the rewards are after you make the big leagues. And when I got there last night, I guess the commissioner of that league told the Rochester people that I wasn't allowed to go in the clubhouse, and I wasn't allowed to shake hands or talk to the players, and I wasn't allowed to shake or talk to the umpires.
Wow.
So figure that out. So,
what was the reason, though, Pete?
I don't know. I don't know because, like I said, Mr. Manfred has been he's really loosened the reins around my neck. I mean, he's allowed me to go on the field last year at the All-Star game for the franchise 4. He has the blessings of me working on Fox. He allowed me on the field last week in Cincinnati all 3 days. So I don't know if the commissioner of the league got scared or what it was, but one of the big things about an appearance, as you could imagine, Dan, is just going in there and talking to these young kids who are biting at the bit to make the big leagues, because I can do nothing but help them and relax them and tell them how hard it is to get there and what it's worth once you get there. So, but that's something happened last night. We're worried more about what's going to go on in the future.
Yeah, but I don't understand. Like, what did they think you're going to do or say to these kids?
Well, you're smarter than me. You tell me.
Yeah, I don't understand this. But nobody gave you a reason why you weren't allowed to be on the field, or you weren't even allowed to talk to umpires?
I even asked the general manager last night when I went and met him for the first time. Dan was his name. Great guy. I said, Dan, could you tell me who said I couldn't go in the clubhouse? And he thought for a minute. And he said, it was our commissioner. And I don't know if he got word from the commissioner's office. I would think not, because Mr. Manfred has been very cordial toward me. He rolled on my situation, which I disagreed with, but that he's the boss. And I'm not going to sit here and badmouth anybody. I just thought that was kind of unusual that they can try to use you to fill the stadium up, but yet you can't go in the clubhouse and talk to the players. And I can do it in independent league teams because they're not affiliated with major league.
Yeah.
And I do it all the time. But and they always seem to enjoy asking me questions about the great game of baseball.
He's Pete Rose, 17-time All-Star. You made the All-Star game at 5 different positions, Pete?
Yeah, I made it first, second, third, left, and right.
Has any nobody?
I could find a spot where I could play regular so I could get my at-bat.
You remember your last at-bat in baseball? I'm sure you do, yes.
Oh, man, do I. I was 45 years old, and I tried to pinch hit off of Goose Gossage.
Yeah.
And he said, good morning, good afternoon, see you later. I said, man, this pinch hit is not for me. I got to get out of here. So, Dan, I never did retire. I just quit playing in August of '86.
Yeah.
Because at that time, I was letting Tony Perez play against left-handers because he was chasing the Latino home run championship, which he ended up getting, but it's been passed since he retired. But, we were the best of friends. We still are. And the at-bat before that was against San Diego, too, and Lance McCullers struck me out. So I convinced myself that 45 years old is not the age to be pinch hitting against these bullet throwers.
Who was the hardest thrower you faced?
Probably J.R. Richard.
Oh, yeah.
He threw a 99-mile-an-hour fastball and a 93-mile-an-hour slider. Ryan Duran from the Yankees that played for the Phillies threw hard. Nolan Ryan threw hard. We had a lot of guys that threw hard, but the guy that gave me the most trouble ever, Dan, was a gentleman by the name of Sandy Koufax. But you got to remember, my first 3 years in the league, 63, 4, and 5, he struck out over 1,000. So I wasn't the only one he was getting out.
Yeah, he was pretty good. Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah. I got 10 for 57 off him. So don't get your calculators out, man. That's 170. And when you don't hit your weight off of a guy, you can't talk too bad about it.
Pete Rose joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Tell me if the quote's correct. You don't think David Ortiz, Big Papi, is a Hall of Famer?
No. I said, he's a Hall of Famer just based on his postseason career. But I'd like to see him get some more hits.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to see him more 2,400 hits. And Dan, I was talking to someone the other day. I don't know how you feel about this, but this guy's in the MVP voting, isn't he?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of an MVP retiring?
No.
I just don't think he's going to retire. Unless he hates the game, because it seems to me, watching him on the field on a nightly basis, he loves the fans. He loves his teammates. He loves the Red Sox, and he loves to play baseball. I don't know why he's thinking about retiring, because he can still play at a top level.
Well, I think that he said his body was kind of banged up, that he was he was tired. His ankles, his feet, so.
Well, all he does is hit. He don't even have a glove.
Should you be an MVP candidate if you don't play in the field?
Yeah. If you produce offensively, because there's not too many MVP candidates, you worry about their defense. As long as they just don't embarrass themselves. Because not too many guys make the Hall of Fame based on their glove. Sure, you can talk about Ozzie Smith and people like that at 15, 16, 17 Gold Gloves. But David Ortiz is a hitter. He's a hitter, and he's a run producer. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised. I think Boston's ahead now. They finally caught Baltimore. That's another thing. Whenever they go to the playoffs and go to the World Series, you're going to be the MVP and win the World Series and say, "See you later, alligator. My feet hurt." Hell, he makes enough money he can buy new feet.
Would you rather be?
I don't want him, Dan. I don't want him to retire because I like to watch him play. And I think when you like to watch somebody play, you want them to play as long as they possibly can. I guess I'm different. The only guy I can think of that went out on top, and you probably know more about this than me, was Elway.
Yeah, but he was banged up.
Yeah.
Jim Brown. Jim Brown went out. Yeah, Jim Brown went out on top.
Well, Jimmy, that was in the 50s. I mean, take a guy like Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter didn't go out on top. Rivera, the pitcher for the Yankees, the relief pitcher, he did go out on top. So I just think that guys that are still enjoying themselves and playing at a top level have a hard time retiring. But I guess David Ortiz is one of those different guys, because once you start getting these gifts at all these ballparks, you think he wants to give that cowboy hat back that Houston gave him on his last trip down there?
I know. Would you rather be in the Reds Hall of Fame or the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Well, let me explain one thing to you, and I'm not taking anything away from Cooperstown. It's a wonderful place, and a lot of my buddies are down the street. I'm 2 blocks from Cooperstown right now. But there again, they're both important. But the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame is important to me, Dan, because Actually, I was born 3 miles from where it's at. And I rooted for the Reds my whole life. I was a Cincinnati Red fan. And they're going to their Hall of Fame. And I must tell you that the Reds Hall of Fame is by far the best Hall of Fame of the other 29 teams. They put so much effort in it and they have so many artifacts and so much history because baseball started in Cincinnati in 1869, first night being 1935. And the history that you can observe when you just walk through that Hall of Fame, and it's just like getting my number retired. That was like 1 and 1A if you're at the races. And then next year they're doing my statue. So that'd be 1B. And I really can't tell you which one is more important. Because unless you go through something, you don't know what really the feeling is. But I had 2 goosebumpy days a couple weeks ago in Cincinnati. First for the Hall of Fame and next for the number retirement. And, of course, when you get a statue, there's less statues than numbers retired. There's less numbers retired than guys in the Reds Hall of Fame. So I don't know which one's more important.
Have you ever written?
But the one here in Cooperstown would be the ultimate goal too, no question about it. Because here you're considered with the greatest in the history of baseball. But in Cincinnati, I'm in the Hall of Fame with the greatest catcher in the history of baseball and the greatest second baseman in the history of baseball. So we got some great situations back there in Cincinnati too.
Have you ever written a Hall of Fame speech for Cooperstown?
No, I've never written a speech anytime. I can't read off of a piece of paper because I'm embarrassed to put my glasses on. If I don't, I can't see the piece of paper. That's why I'm glad I'm sitting here talking to you on the speakerphone because I got my glasses on with my notes right in front of me. I'm like Donald Trump. I'm bad with a teleprompter.
Hey, Pete, good luck with Fan D Action. It's FAN-D-action.com, daily fantasy sports site, and you can go pick against Pete. Pete's Picks, giving an opportunity to challenge him on a daily basis. Have fun this weekend in Cooperstown, and nice catching up with you, Pete.
Dan, it's always a pleasure talking with you, buddy. You know what you're doing. Thank you, and have a great day.
All right, that's Pete Rose.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.